Happy hump day, everybody. Got a massive episode. I've got 10 massive big name players that can be potential busts, major red flags surrounding these players, early high draft capital. We're talking first, second, third rounders that you may need to avoid. You need to be aware of these red flags or your season could be over. Okay? Big episode here. You want to buckle up. You want to watch the show in its entirety. Some people say, well, put timestamps in. I want to watch that specific. No, listen, this is a whole show. This is a segment. I'm plugging into my car and I got my seatbelt on. I'm driving and I'm listening, or I'm on the toilet, or I'm in the shower. I'm just going to fast forward and just get a name and then not get that information. So I don't care. Listen, this is a show. You are tuning into a show, so watch the entire show. And we started off usually with the latest news notes, so that's what we're going to do. The latest news notes with Breaking Brad coming up, and I've got some big Saquon Barkley news, which I'm going to announce near the end, because here's a sneak peek. He is one of the players you may want to avoid. So when we get to him, I got some huge news surrounding him you want to be aware of. So very important show. That's why you can't miss. Oh, okay, well, this guy said, let's avoid Saquon Barkley. Well, why? Why would we avoid Saquon Barkley? Well, you got to listen to this show. That's why you got to listen. That's the whole point of this whole thing. It's very important to hit that thumbs up. Just take a second of your time. And of course, grab the 16-round draft solution. It'll put you light years ahead of the sheep. I'm talking an ironclad roster delivered to you. You get all the sleepers, all the breakouts, everything on a silver platter, printable cheat sheet, which I update until the season starts, guys. Grab it below and you will be extremely, extremely happy you will win your league this year, okay? 16 rounds below. All right, let's start off with the latest news and notes. Where is he right now?
We now have breaking news. We now have breaking news.
There you go. I couldn't hear you the first time, Brad. Are you sleeping today? How many coffees did you have? How many?
We now have breaking news.
7 again? Okay, all right. All right, let's get to the latest news and notes here. Again, there's some big news I'm going to save to the end or near the end about Saquon Barkley. I'm not going to announce it now. You guys got to wait when I get to the Saquon Barkley potential bust this year. Big news. Okay, I want to talk about Austin Eckler. Like, this is a guy that I just didn't believe in when he was on the Chargers. He had a couple good years and then just was a product of the offense. He could be a cut candidate after the team selected Ja'Cory Merritt in the 7th round, running back rookie. A team would gain over $3.4 million in cap savings with a $1.5 million hit in dead money by releasing Eckler. So Eckler pretty much done. I was never a fan of that guy. I don't understand what the hype was over those years. He's just not that good, okay? Aaron Rodgers has announced that he's pretty sure that the 2025 season will be his last year. Good for him, man. I think it's about time to retire. Let's make it a good one, though. There's a lot of fantasy relevance on the team. The Steelers this year, let's feed the talent. That talent. Rodgers, go on a exclamation point, okay? Well, I don't want to say that. I want to save some news for the Saquon part. Tyler Warren has had a great spring, which erases any doubts that he's going to be a major factor in the offense this year. And this is good right now, as Jones may be the starter, and what's his name? Richardson might not. So this could be really good. I think Jones is going to feed Tyler Warren consistently. He's a receiving type tight end. Top prospect, extremely high draft capital, first round type draft capital for the Colts. They're going to use him. So Tyler Warren, target him on rush. I got a lot of stock with him, okay? Emeka Egbuka, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is going to have a big role in the offense, apparently because Chris Godwin's still recovering from that ankle injury. This is according to certain beat writers. He says he's so smart right now by basically nursing the injury, Godwin, blah, blah. Listen, Emeka is going to be used. I think he's a great best ball player. If Godwin's there and if Godwin's healthy, my concern is volume dilution with the 3 wide receivers there, with Evans still being there. So I personally have no Emeka stock, but I definitely see the talent. I don't know if Godwin's going to play the full season or what's happening, or if he gets hurt again. If he does, Emeka absolutely takes off. I think he's probably the best receiver on that offense right now. Aging Mike Evans, he is the future, great dynasty guy. But yeah, you may want to consider him for sure. Emeka Egbuka will have a big role in the offense from what I'm hearing, okay? Some good praise here on Jackson Smith from the Seattle Seahawks. Plays a lot stronger than he gets credit for and is extremely competitive, similar to Puka Nacua. That's what they're comparing him to, according to new teammate and fellow receiver Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp really talking up his side compliment Jackson Smith on the Seahawks. And hey, man, I mean, that's what you do to teammates. Do we believe Cooper Kupp's opinion? I think Jackson Smith is really good. I think he has a good year. And that's Cooper Kupp talking up his teammate here, okay? This is interesting news, which kind of ties into his show. Kansas City Chiefs Pat Mahomes has noted it's a big advantage to have Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Juju all back and healthy. And he's not even mentioning, of course, the running backs. They get a lot of volume in the receiving game. And you got Travis Kelce, who wants to play this year and possibly the next. What does that tell you about the high draft capital, second round to third round pick in Rashee Rice? We're going to talk about that. But so be careful with those Kansas City Chiefs. I'm telling you, man, there is going to be a ton of target dilution. You want to be cautious, and we're going to talk about that shortly as we go through these players that are going to potentially bust. Just be cautious. You don't want to draft a guy in the early rounds that's going to potentially bust or have major target dilution, okay? Bishal Tootin, running back, Jacksonville Jaguars, has agreed to a 4-year rookie contract, according to sources on Tuesday, June 24th. Robert Woods here, Steelers wide receiver. Calvin Austin is battling for a starting role. We'll face some competitions from Robert Woods. I don't think Robert Woods is competition. I don't think Calvin Austin's that good, but they definitely need a good wide receiver too with the Steelers there. That's why I like Pat Freiermuth this year. I think he's going to be good value tight end who's going to get some volume from Aaron Rodgers, okay? So that's pretty much the news there. J.J. McCarthy also, is given, what is here? Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy was given lengthy call sheets before practices and was responsible for calls at the line of scrimmage during the offseason. What else is here? Nothing here. Apparently he's ready, and he's ready to supercharge McCarthy's growth. That's what the coaches are saying. His arm strength stood out. And that's it, man. Apparently, McCarthy, that's a big thing you want to consider when you look at I don't have him here on the list, but Justin Jefferson as well. You want to be cautious because I don't know if I believe in McCarthy. Apparently, the team does. His arm strength looks good. I haven't heard Justin Jefferson complaining about McCarthy. You'd hear him make some noise. So I think maybe he's in a good situation there, is Justin Jefferson, just from a volume perspective, okay? That's it.
We now have breaking news.
That's it for news here. So let's get right to the show. Again, if you haven't gotten 16 rounds, make sure you guys secure the solution to secure the championship. It'll put you light years ahead of the sheep. Go grab the solution right now. I've linked it below. You'll never look back at rankings. All right, let's go here. First one you want to be cautious about this year. I'm going to rip through these 10. I'm going to give you my points. Now, that being said, as we go through these, it's not saying that these guys aren't going to rip it and totally dominate again if they're coming off pinnacle years, or they're not going to return their ADP. I'm just giving you the red flags. I'm telling you, I'm not drafting a majority of these players. If not, actually, I've got no stock in any of these players here, just because I think there's better players to draft that are trending upwards. So you need to be aware of this. You need to be cautious of this. I'm giving you the red flags, and it's up to you to make the executive decision. It's your team. It's not my team. As much as I like my team, that's my team. You guys should like your team the same way I love my team. I'm not here to babysit your team. I'm here to help you create a team that's not going to collapse on you like CMC first overall last year that everyone else was telling you. I'm here to make sure that you mitigate the risk and you're aware of the red flags, okay? So Puka Nacua, 6th overall, is his ADP. Pretty high draft capital. It comes off sometimes late first round, mid to late. Now understand that in weeks 11 to 17 last year, he only had 3 touchdowns. He played 11 games last year. He had 990 yards, 3 tutties, and he shared the field with Cooper Kupp, who was limited to 100 targets. Puka only had just a little bit more than that, 106 or so. Okay, Kupp played 12 games. That being said, they bring in Adams, who I think is going to demand the field a lot more. He's going to demand the ball a lot more. He's got more of a presence. I think he's a better receiver than Kupp. Kupp was never that good. Adams, obviously a superior receiver, I think, to Kupp, but he is on the tail end of his career. So I don't know how much he's got left. That being said, Puka's got a lot of question marks to me based on, do we trust him? Is he going to get hurt? Adams going to be the one? Most likely not. Puka's a great talent. I do not deny that. I'm just uncomfortable with a first round pick for a guy who played 11 games last year, who's going to have target dilution, who's going to have an aging quarterback. They've got a good run game with Kyron Williams. I've got my question marks. That's it. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is be cautious, okay? Like, if you want to invest a first round pick on Puka, you go right ahead, but I don't recommend it. And you should be looking at running back round 1 anyway, not Puka Nacua, okay? That is my advice. That is why I'm fading Puka Nacua. Number 2 is Brian Thomas Jr. I love the talent, okay? This is a guy I was telling everybody, go draft Brian Thomas Jr. round 9 last year. Make sure he's your one. Christian Kirk was being touted to be the guy last year. Remember, if you look at any magazine, if you look at any page that offers consensus rankings, if you listen to any podcast, Kirk was recommended. Kirk only had 47 targets last year compared to Brian Thomas with 133. They had Parker Washington there, who came second in targets, 51. So there's about 100 some odd targets between those two crappy wide receivers. There are non-factors this year, obviously. In comes Travis Hunter, a guy they drafted with the first overall pick, their first overall pick, okay? And listen, this guy's amazing talent. On paper, Hunter is probably better than Brian Thomas. I was watching some drills there, and like they're both on the line, and like Hunter was accelerating faster and coming back faster. Better fast twitch muscle, whatever it is, okay? Now, this year, you've got Brian Thomas Jr. coming off this pinnacle year, 10 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, 133 targets, 87 receptions. Amazing year, but we got him in the 9th round. Are you willing to pay? I'm looking at you in the camera. Are you willing to pay a late first round pick for a guy that we as 16 rounders, if you listen to this channel, that's why if you haven't subscribed, you need to, because you're going to know this before everybody else. As a 16 rounder, as a person who listened to me and got Brian Thomas Jr., are you willing in a redraft league to go ahead and draft him again in the first round? I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm not. Not with Travis Hunter there. And here's the funny thing. These guys are coming off high. Travis Hunter typically round 5, Brian Thomas round 1. Great talent. I'm not denying that Brian Thomas is a great receiver. But what about Trevor Lawrence? Like, he's just chopped liver. Like, he's going undrafted in leagues. How are you drafting these wide receivers in the first couple rounds and then like totally forgetting about Trevor Lawrence, the guy that's going to feed them? That's telling me that the consensus don't know what they're doing. The mainstream, everyone giving advice, because they're telling you draft this guy round 1, but we don't believe in the quarterback. If you don't believe in the quarterback, how are you going to draft his wide receiver? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. That's why rankings don't work. That's why 16 rounds is the truth, because you're able to filter out through this crappy nonsense that's out there. So for me, I'm personally fading Brian Thomas Jr. It's a hard pass. I'm not doing it, okay? Number 3, this one's a bit of a shock here. He's the number 2 quarterback is Lamar Jackson. I'll tell you why he's declining. Now, that being said, this is the year I think the Ravens have to make a run. Henry's kind of at the tail end of his career. He's on his last legs. Lamar Jackson's had multiple good years, and I think this is the year that they got to get it done. So he's quarterback number 2, okay? 41 touchdowns last year, 4 interceptions. He's never had that type of season. You don't believe me? Go back. His rookie year, 6 touchdowns. The year after that was his pinnacle year, 36 touchdowns. That was his best year next to this past year that just happened, his pinnacle year. 26 touchdowns the year after that, 16, 17, 24 touchdowns consecutively in those years. So he's a 16, 17, 24 type touchdown guy. The year before that, 26. So if you look at the last 4 years prior to this last one, the 4 years before that, I'm looking at it, he's averaging around 20 touchdowns per season. He has this astronomical season of 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, mind you. Phenomenal. Rushing for 915 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. Phenomenal. Like, this is amazing stuff. It's not sustainable. And if you invest a second round draft capital pick, expect a major decline. Maybe he goes, like, if I'm looking at the average of his entire career, he's averaging around 22 to 25 touchdowns a year. That's what you're probably going to get. Like, you're not going to get the 41 touchdowns. I just don't. If I'm looking historically, right? He had one good year, and every other year he's averaging 25 touchdowns. Like, I'm going to say to myself, hey, man, it's more likely he's going to average 25 touchdowns. So to me, I look at Lamar Jackson and I see a major decline. I don't see him doing anywhere near the numbers he had last year. And for that reason, I am out on Lamar Jackson, and you should be as well. They're just safer, better quarterbacks. You look at a guy like Josh Allen, you get way more consistency from him. Way more consistency. With Lamar Jackson, he had this really big year at the tail end, not the tail end of his career, but where he's at now in his career. I just don't think that that's sustainable. We're going to find out, okay? Next guy, I've been ripping into this guy. If you listen to this show, I'm going to continue to rip on him. I could be completely wrong, but I'm okay with that. The guy I'm talking about is Ladd McConkey. Where is he? Round 2 ADP. I should do a typo here. Round 2 ADP for a guy we were getting in round 7 to 8 last year. He was our wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1. We loved this guy last year. And I said, don't be a donkey, draft Ladd McConkey. A couple issues I have here is he only had 112 targets. That's without the addition of the great and powerful Trey Harris, who they drafted with early draft capital. They drafted him, and they're going to use him. And he's a second-round pick, man. He's the X-receiver. He's finally a receiver that can catch the ball. Someone was saying, well, we're still working. I was reading in the comments yesterday or whatever it was, somewhere in the comments. I try to get back to as many of you guys as I can. So make sure you guys do drop a comment below. Someone was saying, oh, yeah, they're still on the Quentin Johnson project. I'm like, no, that project was over the time he dropped his first ball and we realized he had brick hands. Okay, no, he's done. Ladd McConkey is not the one anymore either. He was the one last year by default. I just don't see this being sustainable with Trey Harris there, and they've got a good running game, more checkdowns to Amari and Hampton. This is going to be a good offense. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think that Ladd McConkey is going to be the focal point of this offense anymore. It's a totally new offense. For the reasons being, I just stated that Hampton is there. He's going to take targets. Trey Harris is there. He could be the one. For those reasons and those reasons, they drafted a tight end as well, Gaddiston. For those reasons, I'm going to say a decline is absolutely imminent for the Ladd McConkey, okay? Number 5 here is George Kittle. Heed my warning. First of all, never spent an early draft capital pick on a tight end. George Kittle finished 3rd amongst tight ends last year, and a big part of that was CMC was hurt. You're losing at least 80 to 100 receptions, or targets anyway. Targets for CMC. Then you had Pearsall played 11 games, Ayuk played 7, Deebo Samuel played like garbage, and it was literally the George Kittle show. Injuries absolutely helped propel him, right? And he hadn't had this type of stat line since 2019. I think he had 85 receptions in 2019. He had 78 last year, over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Not sustainable for George Kittle. You shouldn't be drafting a tight end early. There's a ton of sleepers at tight end. Grab 16 rounds. You'll be covered at tight end. Don't grab Kittle in round 3. It's a mistake. The next one is David Montgomery, 61 overall. So what is that in if you have a 12-person league, right, you simply take 61 divided by 12, and that's around 5 ADP, basic math. I was just checking something. I suck at math, by the way. So I admit, I'm not good at math. I had to check around 5, okay? It's basic math. I should have known that. But I did it on a 12-person league. Why settle on RB2 so early is my biggest caveat to David Montgomery. That's it. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Jahmyr Gibbs is coming off round 1. David Montgomery got hurt. Is he going to get hurt again? I don't know. I don't trust him. Injury has been a factor to him. He's always missing time because he's a bruiser, right? He's going in, he's running through the middle, he's smashing his body. He's probably going to get hurt. And if I'm drafting Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm banking on a David Montgomery injury. To have that type of ceiling out of Jahmyr Gibbs, we need a Montgomery injury, right? So I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. There's no Montgomery stock. And the funny thing is, I'm doing a lot of best ball, and some people feel that they could wait on running back and make David Montgomery their RB1, and he's going to have a couple good games. Like, he's going to, for best ball, yeah. But it's just, you should be going top heavy for running back, period. End of discussion. David Montgomery is not going to be the solution for you. I don't trust him. I don't like him. I would never settle for an RB2 in round 5, knowing that Caleb Johnson, who's going to be a top 5 finisher in fantasy points, who's going to be the workhorse, who's guaranteed 270 attempts without a doubt, if staying healthy, is going to eat this year. I can get him after David Montgomery in redraft. Like, that is ludicrous. That is absolutely crazy. Okay? Get Caleb Johnson, fade David Montgomery. There you go. Now, let's get to that Saquon Barkley news I was talking about. He's number 7 here. And again, this is no particular order. I just had to put numbers on them, right? It's not like Puka Nacua at 1 is more likely to bust than Saquon Barkley here at 7. But it's really simple with Saquon Barkley here. And I'm going to pull up the news here. What goes up must come down. Now, I just read this news, okay? Check this out. Barkley has been calculated, right? They're calculating when balancing his training and recovery this offseason, ensuring he's fresh as possible when players report to training camp. So a lot of teammates in the offense have involved. They want to have more of a balanced attack. Also, the new coordinator, Kevin Patullo, is likely to go with more of a balanced approach offense, which would theoretically reduce Barkley's chances of getting hurt, coming off such high usage. Barkley touched the ball an astonishing 482 times, including the postseason in 2024, which puts him in extreme danger of missing time in 2025. They want to reduce his workload, implementing more of a Will Shipley. I'm reading notes on him. He offers more dynamic qualities that ideally complement Saquon and should add a nice flair to the new look Eagles offense, according to Andrew DeSecco of Inside the Birds. So Andrew's Inside the Birds. I guess he's like a beat writer or something like that. So I'm reading this and I'm just saying to myself, hold on a second. We got a Madden cover, which I'm not believing in the curse. We got a pinnacle year. He's not going to rush for 2,000 yards. He's coming off a Super Bowl hangover. And now just the cherry on top tells us that they're going to have a more balanced approach. I'm questioning Saquon Barkley first overall, which is what everybody's doing, or second overall. They go and buy Jan Saquon. I'm not drafting. I've got 0 Saquon Barkley stock. That being said, I love him. I do love him. I love the offense. I've got 0 Saquon Barkley stock. Let me repeat, and let me tell you why. They just came out and said that there's going to be more of a balanced offense, more Shipley, just to preserve Saquon Barkley's health. Number 2, Super Bowl hangover. Number 3, Madden curse. Number 4, pinnacle year. There's so many red flags that are telling me that a decline is absolutely imminent. Not to mention the law of probabilities, that the fact that players that play with high usage just get hurt. It's just the law of averages. If you run across the highway 100 times, don't do this, by the way, eventually you're going to get hit by cars. If the highway is busy, you might get across the first 2 times, but after that, you might get hit. So I'm fading Saquon Barkley. That's what I'm doing. It's totally up to you guys to make a decision. After this news today, I'm just like, yeah, I'm totally out on this, okay? I don't think any other channel is going to tell you this. They're going to say, oh, just draft Saquon Barkley. Just go ahead and do it. I'm telling you, fade him now. I'm all in. I just made a decision right now. I'm all out on Saquon Barkley. I'm all in on being out on Saquon Barkley. There you go. Next one here is Brock Bowers, another guy that just everybody's telling you Brock Bowers is the man. Brock Bowers is this. But listen, there's going to be target dilution. Last year, the only person competing with targets him was Myers, Jacoby at 129 targets, 81 for Tucker. Brock Bowers is a round 2 pick, round 1 pick in tight end premium leagues, 153 targets. Great last year, 1,194 yards, 112 receptions, 5 tutties. Not going to happen this year. They got Dante Thornton on the team, who's just look him up. Playing with first team offense. They got Jack Beck in the second round, round 4 and round 2 picks, knowing they need to address that well-needed wide receiver position because they don't have a true wide receiver 1. Myers is a fake. He's a fake like similar players that are, Shakira on Buffalo. He's a fake wide receiver. He's not a true wide receiver 1. Coleman's going to step up this year. You got so many fakers that think they're wide receiver 1s. Christian Kirk was always a fake wide receiver 1. He's a fake wide receiver 1 going into last year, right? Christian Kirk was ranked ahead of Brian Thomas Jr. I'm like, Christian Kirk's a fake. Myers is a fake. Shakira is a fake on Buffalo, right? Same type of thing, man. Brock Bowers, new offense. He doesn't have Minshew force feeding him the ball. New quarterback, new offense, new receivers, more checkdowns for Genty. He's going to get his share of receptions. There was nobody there. They had Alexander Madison. Who else are you going to throw to? The only good player was Brock Bowers. And now you're telling me a guy that we were getting after the 10th round last year, I got to pay a second round pick to get, knowing there's an entirely new situation there? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Okay. Brock Bowers, I'm absolutely fading. Okay. The next one is Rashee Rice here. I'm totally fading him. It says, who says he's the one? Again, when I read the news at the beginning, you had, Patrick Mahomes come out and say everybody's healthy. Hollywood Brown, Worthy, Rice, all these guys. Dude, there's just so much target dilution, and this guy's coming off 29 overall, which means second to third round. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Early third round is typically where he comes off. He played 4 games last year, got hurt the 4th game, literally played 3 games, and everybody's kind of basing this off the 3 games. They're like, hey man, like he had 103 receiving yards, 75, 110. Like he looked really good in those 3 games. Yeah, sure, whatever. But Worthy wasn't fully accelerated. The offense wasn't in the groove, right? I can't explain it, man. All I'm saying is this, right? Kelsey is 100% now, apparently, right? He wants to play another couple of years. I don't know what happened to him last year. He had a bit of a down year. Worthy was not integrated fully earlier in the season. He hadn't found his groove, right? And Rashee just somehow was just getting the volume. I don't think it's going to be that way this year. I just don't, now that Worthy's fully accepted. If Worthy wasn't there, I'd say, yeah, Rashee Rice makes some sense, right? If Brown wasn't there, that type of thing, like they've got too many options. And we know that since Tyreek, there really hasn't been a true one. And actually the one is Kelsey. And he still was one last year, regardless. So I'm fading him. I have tons of reasons. And that suspension possibly looming. He's got 8 pending charges. It's insane. That could happen. Anything could happen. That looming in the back of my head, regardless of whether he gets suspended or not, is enough for me. Just that alone. Forget all the target dilution and all that. Like, forget that. Just that suspension. Like, why am I investing a 2nd, 3rd round pick on that? Not doing it, okay? Last one here. This is a crazy one. I don't even have no business what this guy is doing in the 2nd round. But T. Higgins, just don't draft him. That's it. All I'm going to say is he backs out 110 targets, and he had a pinnacle 10 touchdown year that he's never seen his entire career, and it came last year, so it's unlikely he's going to do it again. Not to mention Joe Burrow has gotten hurt in the past. Is he due for an injury? There's just so many moving parts here. He got paid, he got incentivized. He's on a contract hangover, right? Just got paid. He's out partying with Lamborghinis. 2nd round pick for a T. Higgins, who's a wide receiver 2 on his team. When you can get wide receiver 1s in the 9th or 10th round, you can get Deontay Thornton. You can get him with literally your last pick, and he could be the wide receiver 1 in the Raiders, and you're going to spend a 2nd round pick on T. Higgins. Now you say, well, Joe, you're crazy. Thornton's a dart throw. Possibly, but check this out, though. If you stack 5 or 6 dart throws, which I did last year, Ladd McConkey and Brian Thomas Jr., you are likely going to succeed and fill your 2 wide receiver spots. Some people have 3 wide receiver spots. I get it. Then just get a safer wide receiver, a Cortland Sutton, a Calvin Ridley in the earlier rounds and kind of, don't be so risky, right? But Higgins is a risk. You're saying, I don't want to be risky, but you're being risky. You are sacrificing major point ceiling at a 2nd round pick, which is absolutely ludicrous. Don't do it, Higgins, okay? Man, I'm talking a lot. That's it. These are like huge, big name, potential bust. Do not draft them, guys, or be cautious. I've stated the red flags. Grab the 16-round draft solution for all of the optimal players drafted in each round, all the sleepers, all the breakouts, and all the players to avoid in 16 rounds. You'll be light years ahead of the sheep. Do not follow other channels. They will lead you astray, I assure you. I've been at this for like 10 years. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, guys? Subscribe, Lion Mentality. I'll see you in the next video.